Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, Booked with Juby. If you are a book lover, then this is the place for you. I do lots of book recaps, reviews, book TBRs. I do my monthly wrap-ups. I do top books I've listened to, ones I didn't like. So if that's the type of thing you're into, this is the channel for you. And in today's video, we are going to talk about one of the audiobooks I just finished, which is the newest book by Charlotte McConaghy, which is called Wild Dark Shore. This book has lived rent-free in my head since I listened to it, which was about a week ago. I was obsessed. It was so good. And I definitely, for this one, recommend the audio over physical, because the audio, they just did such a good job of creating such an atmosphere. They dealt with raw grief. It also dealt with climate change, and it was spooky, but thrilling, but sad, suspenseful. It had everything. And honestly, I just loved it. Now, as always, this is just going to be a quick summary and then my thoughts on the book, so it will be totally spoiler free. So not to worry, I won't spoil any of the goodies for you. So let's start with a quick summary of the book. Wild Dark Shore is set in the fictional Shearwater Island, which is a crumbling, isolated stretch of land just outside of Antarctica. It follows the Salt family, which is the father, Dominic. You have the eldest son, Alex, who's 18. You have the eldest daughter, Fen, who is 17. And then you have the youngest son, Orly, who is only 9. So he's a little guy. They basically are the last remaining inhabitants on this stretch of island, and they have a really huge responsibility that they've been tasked with. They are safeguarding the world's largest seed vault, but unfortunately, with the sea levels rising so rapidly, it's threatening to erase their entire home. One day, their world is thrown into chaos when this mysterious woman washes ashore named Rowan, and they have no idea where this woman's come from. And as the Salts nurse her back to life, basically secrets start to unravel, loyalties are tested, and survival is important. Not just for the families, but also for the island. So the whole thing is just chaos. So this book, I won't go any further than that, but just start with that. It's so atmospheric. Charlotte does a really good job of building this really amazing, elaborate world where you really feel like you're there. And that's one of the reasons I think I gravitated to this book and really couldn't put it down, is because I am listening to it and I'm so enthralled, and I'm almost there, and I can almost envision being on this island in basically Antarctica, with all this sea life and mammals and birds, and it's so neat. Okay, let's talk narration for this book. This audiobook performance was mesmerizing for me. I could not stop listening to it. The book takes on 5 different POVs. So you got Dominic, their 3 children, and also Rowan. So it also has male and female actors for both of those. And also they're Australian, so it does add the Aussie accent in there, which I thought was quite helpful. I also love me some Aussies because my best friend lives in Australia and she's married to an Aussie, so I kind of have a nice soft spot for them. But anyway, that's besides the point. Basically, the narrators do such a good job of, I don't know, the intensity just matches how Charlotte writes, because she's very lyrical and purposeful with her words, and she really is creating this atmosphere in this world that you really are being brought into. And the way that the narrators portrayed the characters really brought the intensity and really brought the suspense to it, with the way they spoke, the way they said things, the way they paused at the right points. It was just so good. And it really was like a dark, twisty book. You can also just feel the really deep emotion from the characters. I think that's one of the reasons I really enjoyed this one as an audiobook versus a physical, because this stretch of land, it's beautiful, but it's harsh. And to be able to portray that through words, but then also like narrate that, it just created this whole world building and this scenery that I really felt like I was there. And it scared me a little bit sometimes because there's some very intense scenes that are a little scary and um, mysterious. And I just was like, sometimes like gasping because I was so nervous. This book technically is not a fast paced book, but I felt like it was because I was so invested. She does do a good job of building the suspense over the book and like putting it in the right spots. But again, I was so enthralled with this book that I could not stop listening. So like it is a slow, I will be honest with you, like it technically is a slower book, slower burn. But for me, I just was like, oh my gosh, like so deeply invested in this. Like I listened to it in like 2 days, maybe not even. I also think that having the different POVs was really helpful because it helped create different dynamic and dimensions to the world building and what was going on in the book. So you got different perspectives, and but they also blended together really well, but also created a lot of contrast. So you're just like, you could see, you can see the mystery unfolding, I guess. And they also use like I think it's called like the roll B, like the soundtrack on the back. So there's like crashing water and just like really dark, twisty sounds throughout the novel as well. And that really helped create the atmosphere, the world, and really put you into this setting. Okay, so let's talk about the themes of the book. You have a few. The story is mainly about survival because of this crazy place that they're in, right? But it's not just that. There's family and betrayal. So, you know, the Salts have their own family dynamic that they're working through, having lost their mother years prior. And then also Rowan, like Rowan, you'll see little flashbacks of her history and why she's on this island, how she got to this island to start with. And again, this is in the middle of nowhere. So you're like, how are you there? It also deals with the climate collapse. You know, this little island is going to be gone soon because the sea levels are raising so much. So this is going to eliminate a home for all these seals and penguins and birds and all this aquatic life that now doesn't have any place to live. It also deals with grief and resilience. So there is a lot of grief in this book. As I mentioned, their mother has passed away. That's why it's just the four of them years prior. But you know how the family has grown and is dealing with this grief. And then Rowan also has her own little side story of grief, which is also really sad and difficult. And then this book, I don't know, like how she wrote it, you just feel like how the world almost feels like it's being abandoned. Honestly, this book scared me a little bit. It was so dark but truthful, and it really did bring perspective to me that I didn't have before. Okay, let's talk about what I love most about this book. And that would basically be the tension of the book, which is so crazy. But again, I think the audio part of this really created that for me, and really like I felt it. Like I really was like in it with them, and I was scared a little bit sometimes. It really does a good job of balancing beauty, this beautiful island, but also decay, because the island is decaying, it's crumbling apart, it's falling apart. And also their lives are falling apart, going together, doing all these things. It also really follows the theme of love. And I mean like the familial love, like what you will do for your family, what you're willing to, how far you will go for them, and how much you love them. It all just blends together. I also really loved that adding the element of Rowan, this stranger who washes up ashore, it just adds this element of mystery because she doesn't, you have no idea why she's there. And they're very like, they're outcasts, right? They've been off in this island for years and years and years. So like, they don't have a lot of outside interaction. So they're like wary. They're like, what the heck? Why is this woman here? Like, who are you? And there's events that have unfolded on the island that they're like trying to hide. And it's like, is she a threat? Is she a savior? Something in between. Like, honestly, the tension of it just kept me listening the whole time. Who is this book for? This book really reminded me of the book Where the Crawdads Sing. If you love this book, I think you'll also really like Charlotte's book. She also has 2 other books that are apparently very similar to these, so I'm going to have to pick those ones up as well. This is just the first one that I've ever listened to or came across, but I definitely would try some other ones because I really liked it. But if you kind of like a deep emotional book, but there's like, it's such a harsh setting, but it's also beautiful. So she does a good job of creating the atmosphere and really getting you into this. If that's what you're into, that's definitely what I definitely suggest this one's for you. The story also features a really strong solitary female protagonist, just like Where the Crawdads Sing. And it's a remote and unforgiving natural atmosphere. So that's why it definitely reminded me a lot of it. So if you love that kind of thing and you want a little bit of dark, twisty, atmospheric world building, this one's for you. Okay, so what are my final thoughts on this book? Ultimately, Wild Dark Shores is technically a slower burn, but for me, it was so intense that I was like addicted to it from the start. I also really loved the world. It was so different and new for me, so I also really loved that experience. Um, it has tons of emotion and it leaves you feeling haunted, and I still feel a little haunted. That's like the right word here, is haunted. Even a week after I've listened to this book, it kept me, it had layers of mystery and twists that kept me really interested. So I gave this book a solid 5 stars because I genuinely enjoyed every minute of it. I loved this book. I definitely recommend the audio. I mean, I didn't read it physically, so I can't say whether or not that's better, but this one, like chef's kiss. It was so good. I loved every minute of it. The audio was so stinking good that this one I definitely recommend as an audiobook. Have you listened to Wild Dark Shores yet or read it? Let me know in the comments. I definitely want to hear what your thoughts are on it. Did you love it as much as I did? I know some people did not like this one, but I would say more people like it than not like it. Also, is it on your radar now? Let me know. Or do you have any other audiobook recommendations? Because I'm always looking for the next great audiobook because I love audiobooks. And as always, I love you all so much. If you aren't already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notifications for all my book content. I post videos once a week. I also am on Shorts. You can also find me on Instagram or TikTok, Book with Juby. I love you all so much and happy reading. Bye.